Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. Ah, I'm wondering if I should start a poll in the chat. I'm not quite sure. But, y'all, today's live is going to be interesting. It is going to be a continuation of yesterday, but a little bit more short, concise, to the point. And my goal of the live stream is to look more into the camera. Because I noticed that when I looked more into the camera, it actually increased the audience. Who knew? So I'm going to be doing that a little bit more. I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are amazing. We're going to talk about all the ways that Donald Trump has profited off of the presidency. Because he thinks, I am the best, the greatest, the most impressive president of all time. And we're going to be talking about how he's a slimy criminal. So, when you're jumping in here, make sure to click that like button, the subscribe button, and I want you to adore me. Adore me, shower me with nice golden showers. I love the golden showers. Some people say the golden showers are the best ones. We don't want silver showers, we want the golden ones. As you're jumping in here, tell me one word how you're feeling this morning. How are you feeling this morning? I see some people have jumped in. If you're watching this back as a video, you're secretly my favorite. You're secretly my favorite. The way to do a Trump impression is to have the hands. Shout out to Erica for buying me the hands. You gotta tilt your head. You gotta perk your lips. And then you gotta repeat. Just repeat, endlessly repeat the same things over and over. Over and over, say things that are grandiose, like I'm the best, the greatest, the most impressive president of all time. So, good morning, Akicha. Akicha, you're awesome. You're always the first one in here. You're always the first one in here, and I appreciate you so much. Are you all drinking anything this morning? Anyone drinking coffee? Anyone drinking tea? I got coffee. I have it in my this is pretty gay mug. But coffee. How do you take your coffee, Akisha? How do you usually take it? Do you take it black or do you take it with cream or something? We are going to continue. We are going to continue talking about the same thing that we were talking about yesterday, how Donald Trump has profited off of the presidency, how all the myriads of ways that he has used his position to literally skyrocket his wealth from $3.1 billion to now 7.2 or something like that. So we're going to be talking all about that. Black and unsweetened. Yeah, I don't put anything in my coffee either. Everyone in here, how do you take your coffee if you're a coffee drinker? Because I usually don't have anything in it. I try to decrease calories. That's just me. Now, if I have iced coffee, then there has to be some sort of sweetener in it. But anyway, I appreciate you. We're going to be talking about the myriad of ways that Donald Trump has made money while in office. And all of the ways that his corruption is just normalized. If this was any other president that has done even just one of these, it would be the biggest scandal, the biggest problem ever in America. News outlets would be talking about it endlessly. But the reason why Donald Trump has some immunity from public scandal is because his followers are in a cult. They're devoid of any of their own reasoning, their own critical thinking. They literally just follow what Trump does. They don't seem to care that he's corrupt. They don't seem to care. And that's scary. It's scary that we live amongst people who don't care about public corruption, no matter if it's in their party or an opposing one, because they just accept it. See, as Americans, I don't think we should accept corruption no matter who it is or what party. I'm going to call it out. So I appreciate every single one of you. I put sugar in my coffee, that's it. Yeah, black and unsweetened. Oh my God. What? I don't understand what Ryan Beans has commented in here. If you're watching this back as a live as a video, this guy Ryan Beans just commented something really strange. And I don't think that's okay. No, I don't. It is not okay. Period. End of story. It's funny how Nicki Minaj has gotten screwed over by Trump. Hey, you reap what you sow. You start to adorn over you start to adorn over a wannabe dictator. Yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of your fans, your followers, because you're just becoming a cuck. Anyway, so it is past the 5-minute mark. Let's officially get started here. All right, here we go. I'm gonna hide away the chat just for a little bit, and then we will be reading out some super chat messages if we end up getting any. I appreciate every single one of you. Here we go. Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. If you are drinking a morning beverage, please put it in the chat below. I have coffee. I drink my coffee black. How do you take your coffee in the morning? I hope that your coffee hits you before reality does, because in this video, I'm going to be talking about all the ways that Donald Trump has profited off of his position as president, publicizing his corruption because, I don't know, we just seem to accept this corruption in 2026. It's like Americans are gluttons for punishment. We want our public officials to be corrupt in some way. So we're gonna go through all the different ways that Donald Trump has made money in office. I created this cute little amazing, fantastic, incredible graphic that outlines all the different ways. I'm gonna read it out and then we're gonna go through things one by one. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to click that like button, share if you think this video is really, really good. My goal, and I hope that you all help me with my goal is to keep eye contact. I'm probably not gonna look right into the camera. Sorry, I know that was probably very personal, but I'm going to try and look more at the screen. Whenever I do these lives, I tend to look away, maybe when I'm thinking about something. So I need you all to help me with my goal today. I'm gonna be looking more at the camera. And you know, it's a weird thing because when you're doing these live streams, you're just watching yourself and you don't see like physical people. So it's like you're talking to yourself, which isn't unusual for me, but you know. So here are all the ways that Donald Trump has made money, billions of dollars, I might add, in office using his position as president. And somehow the American public has just accepted his corruption as reality, which is scary. So I'm going to talk about it. Number one, using taxpayer money for government officials, staff, and foreign leaders to stay at his properties. It's no secret that Donald Trump is some real estate mogul, crony, crook, and he has basically used his properties to conduct government business. Well, instead of placing his assets into a blind trust, where he is no longer managing, in that sense, the Trump organization, he placed it into a different kind of trust called a revocable trust. What that ends up doing is Trump is still the sole beneficiary and sole executive and continues to profit instead of actually divesting. It shows that he has a conflict of interest. So anytime that the Secret Service or foreign officials or any other staff stay at his properties, it's the government paying for the housing for that staff. And so Trump is pocketing the money. The Trump business is pocketing the money from the government. There is no dissociation. There's no separation between Trump as the businessman, in that sense, literally making money off this country, and our government, which that's not how it should be. Government should be about public service, not public profit. But that's how Trump goes about it. So we'll talk about that. Number two, cryptocurrency. So deregulating cryptocurrency and launching his own crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. So Donald Trump actually has, ever since taking office in early 2025, has deregulated cryptocurrency so much and launched his own cryptocurrency, World Liberty Financial, and has made billions of dollars. So basically, he's used his position as president to deregulate cryptocurrency and has launched his own thing and made so much money. Which, by the way, for those people, we're going to talk about what cryptocurrency is, kind of how it works. I'm not an expert on it, though once you get cryptocurrency, you can transfer that into US dollars through several different methods, and you can grow your wealth. And it's really crazy. So he has basically deregulated cryptocurrency, and his policy actions have dramatically shifted the way that crypto is not even regulated, but there's that. And then number 3, we're going to talk about how Donald Trump has continued to accept bribes and gifts from foreign leaders, which violates the emoluments clause in the Constitution. We're going to talk about what the emoluments clause is, why it's in the Constitution, why the founders put it there, and how Trump is violating that, and how his followers don't even seem to care that he can be bought. You know, it's just a national security risk in my view. It's crazy. So make sure to send some likes. That's a quick little overview. Let's get right into it. Are there any super chats for me to read? Let me go ahead and just check here. I love all of you, even if you don't like me, because I'm not here to, you know, somehow make people mad or whatever. Let's see. Magga, why do you call everyone gay? Says something about you, just saying. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, yes, I am, but like, MAGA thinks that somehow that's an insult. They're like, gay, and I'm like, okay. Or they call me zesty or fruity. I'm like, okay. And at least I got flavor, honey. At least I got something. You know, it's just, who cares if the person is gay or straight? Yeah, 100%. 100%. As long as you don't like pineapple on pizza. I'm just kidding. I actually love pineapple on pizza. Are there any other comments for me to read out? Yes, Trump supporters do have TDS. They refuse to acknowledge that their God Emperor can do any wrong. Yeah. It's okay. We know you're gay. Yeah, and also that's the wrong you're. I'm wondering if those are just truly bots. Eye contact is hard for me. I got ADHD. Yeah. Thank you, Ryan Beans. I appreciate that. $1 super chat. You're cool. Let's see. What else is in here? Let's see. No one is thriving in the effed up MAGA nightmare. 100%. 100%. I take my coffee at night because of the graveyard shift. Oh. Someone said I did that as a joke. You're a... What? Okay. I don't understand this purse strats dude. Okay, it's interesting. Interesting. Mag calls people gay, but they've crashed Grinder. Oh, 100%. 100%. I will also tell you that a lot of the most, and this is me as a gay person, I'll tell you, the most outwardly loud homophobic people on the planet are gay. No, 100%. 100%. The most outwardly loud, in your face, shaming, being angry, making it their whole thing, the most homophobic people on this planet are gay. They're using that anger inside of them as a coping mechanism to the feelings that they have. Straight people don't think about gay people that much. They're like, okay, I don't care. Doesn't hurt me. Of course, there are straight people who are homophobic because they somehow think that it's a great way to be better than someone else. You know, over time, I think we're fading that away. But the most obsessively homophobic people are gay. Period, end of story. That's just how it is. And this is why gay people, we can't have nice things. So anyway, let's get back into the subject here. I'm gonna hide away the chat. I appreciate every single one of you. Let's talk about all the ways that Donald Trump has made money in office. Number 1, using taxpayer money for government officials, staff, and foreign leaders to stay at his properties. So it's no secret that Donald Trump likes to use his properties for conducting government business. Yes, hold on, let me plug in my phone. And this raises a lot of questions of conflicts of interest because he continues to just reap and make so much money off of doing all the government business basically at his properties. Why are my graphics out of order? This is rude. Okay, where am I at? Where am I at? Oh, geez, Louise. Where am I at? So that's the wrong one. Scott Johnson. Where is it? Did I not? You know what? I wonder if I didn't. Oh. I made a boo-boo. Hold on just a second. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I am so sorry about that. Long story short, I had to include the graphics in the live stream so that I could actually put that stuff up there. So, long story short, if I don't allow YouTube access to my camera roll, then I can't put up certain graphics. It's probably frozen. I'm so sorry. Hopefully we'll be back in just a second. Are we back? Just comment below in the chat if we're back, because as a quick little thing, sometimes when I forget to allow access to certain things in my camera roll from YouTube, then I can't put up certain graphics from my camera roll. So it makes it, you're back, bestie? Okay, cool. Yeah, so I forgot to include certain graphics I was gonna use for today's show. So, my bad. All right, so I see we're back for Proust Strats. Are we back for everyone else? I apologize. I know that was probably frustrating because you're like, oh my God, it paused. What's going on? Okay, we're back. Great. Let me start from the very beginning. Let me start from the very beginning, because let me tell you, sometimes you just need a fresh start. Sometimes you just need to make a start great again. So, I appreciate every single one of you. Make sure to send some likes as you're listening to the stream. This is going to be a very informative section, and I will not be reading chat. All right. So let's list all the ways that Donald Trump has made money off of being president. As I put out earlier, here we go. So, number one, Donald Trump has made excessive amounts of money in office by using taxpayer money for government officials, staff, and foreign leaders to stay at his own properties. Basically pocketing the money, our taxpayer money, to then pay for leaders to conduct government business, whether that's conferences or Secret Service staff staying at his properties. The Trump Organization is profiting that money off of the government itself paying for people to stay there. So there's no delineation between Trump as the person in charge, the president, and the Trump Organization, but what he is doing is using his position as president to make his businesses richer, because, oh, well, now he hosts all of that stuff at his events, or at his properties. If this was any other president, like Biden or Kamala Harris or a Bernie Sanders, this would be a huge scandal. This would be a huge issue and endlessly talked about. But the reason why it's so normalized for Trump is because he's captured a whole bunch of people and brainwashed them to being a part of a cult where he can do no wrong. He can do no corruption. He has some sort of aura of inevitability. He's immune from any sort of corruption in their eyes, because people are they've thrown out their own critical thinking, their own reasoning to then just be subservient to Trump and his interests. So, number one, how Trump is basically making money in office is using taxpayer money for government officials, staff, foreign leaders, and Secret Service and all that to stay at his properties. So, here we go. Continued ownership of the Trump Organization. Before taking office in 2017, Donald Trump did not divest from the Trump Organization. Instead, he placed his assets into a revocable trust managed by his sons. Why this matters? He remained the ultimate beneficiary. Business profits could still increase his net worth, and ethics experts argued this created conflicts of interests. So, do you all know what a blind trust is? And do you all know what a revocable trust is? I know we talked about this yesterday, and I'm going to launch a poll I'm going to launch a poll in here. Do you know what a blind trust is? And one option I'm adding in is yes, no, and sorta. It's okay if you don't know. It's truly okay because we're all here to learn and stuff like that. So if you're watching this back as a video, I apologize. I probably will edit this part out, but do you know what a blind trust is? It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to be like, hey, you know, I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. If you were in the live stream yesterday, you might know a little bit about what it is, but yeah. Also, my live streams continue to have low attendance. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm just a bad creator or if this is a bad time or I'm just not doing great. So I don't know what to do. I appreciate every single one of you. Shino Justin says, wait until this guy finds out that Obama's wealth increased in office in Clinton Foundation. I'm not going to disagree. I haven't excessively researched into it, but I'm not going to disagree that that's happened. A lot of presidents have done that. But ask yourself why you felt the need to comment that. You probably felt the need to comment that because your knee-jerk reaction is, oh, well, I'm going to then justify Donald Trump making billions of dollars in office himself. This idea that, oh, well, all of them are equally corrupt. So the person that just commented that, let me tell you what's happening behind your brain. You are suffering from a lot of rationalization and cognitive dissonance, where you're like, oh, well, all presidents have done that. All presidents have done that. When you're watering down the criticism of the way that Donald Trump has made billions of dollars by using his position as president to profit himself in a myriad of ways, what you're trying to do is somehow make it less of a problem. And that is a common measure amongst any MAGA Trump supporter, any sort of right-leaning person, to then justify continued support despite evidence. So I understand that conundrum. That happens to everyone regardless of political affiliation. But I hope that you now see this and you're like, you know what, Scott? You're right. You're right. That's exactly how I was thinking. Just because someone else has also done it doesn't mean that it's somehow okay for Trump to do it. But if we're also going to be calling a spade, if you want to look at the severity in which Obama or Clinton or any other elected president in history has made money while president, yeah, that's bad. But when you look at what Trump has done, it is just blown proportions out of the water. And if you listen to the live stream, you'll learn. So it looks like we had about 10 votes. Do you know what a blind trust is? We got 50% said no, 40% and 10% said yes and sorta. So do you all know what a revocable trust is? That's the next polling question. Do you know what a revocable trust is? I don't think I'm going to actually launch it as a poll. Well, you know what? I will. Why not? Replace. Do you know what a revocable trust is? And then say yes, no. Can I not add an option? What? It won't let me add an option. That's just rude. It won't let me add a third option. So do you all know what a revocable trust is? It's okay if you don't. I'm just gauging where people are. Ooh, 2 votes so far. We got 34 people on the live stream and 2 votes. Ooh, that's like 1/17th? 3 votes, okay. We're doing a little bit better. So, do you all know what a revocable trust is? So, sort of. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to include that as an option, but then it wouldn't let me for some odd reason. So I see 3 votes in here. Do you all know what a revocable trust is? I appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoy the live, click the like button. You will learn something. I'll tell you, you'll learn something. You'll learn big things. Big, huge things. Huge things in this live stream. Scott Johnson is a woke, radical, communist, Marxist, socialist, liberal. Liberal spelled Libyraul. Liberal. So I see most people, 5 votes have been in here. See, 2 people said that yes, 3 votes said no. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and end the I'm not in the words. End the poll. So looks like a good chunk of you don't know what a revocable trust is. All right. So the reason I asked those questions is Donald Trump, when he became president, he did not place his businesses, his assets, into a blind trust. He didn't divest from the Trump organization. He placed it into a revocable trust instead of a blind trust. Now, presidents throughout history, it's been known that they will then place their businesses into something called a blind trust. To my knowledge, all other presidents before that have done so. It's been an unspoken precedent where a blind trust is a trust in which the trustor, so that would be Trump if he were to do this, gives control of the assets to a trustee, so let's say that was his son, who manages them without the trustor's knowledge, which is often used to avoid conflicts of interest. So let's say that I become president and I decide to entrust my businesses to Ilisa in here, one of my amazing moderators. What it would mean is I would give up control, I would give up agency and decision-making around that and have someone else manage the business for me. Instead, Donald Trump decided to place his Trump Organization business into something called a revocable trust. A revocable trust is a flexible estate planning tool that allows the grantor, in the example of me and Ilisa in here, it would allow me, the grantor, Scott Johnson, to alter or cancel its provisions during their lifetime while bypassing probate in the event of the grantor's death. So what it basically does is I've given it to Ilisa, but I still run it. So what that does is, yeah, I've entrusted it if I happen to pass away, but I'm still running it. So a revocable trust is basically this idea that, oh, well, there's a little bit of delegation, but not fully. So Donald Trump, when he became president in 2017, and also when he became president back again in 2024, he placed his holdings into a revocable trust. He didn't divest from the Trump Organization itself, meaning that he still personally profited off of being president. So why does that matter? How does that relate to government officials staying at his properties? Well, the US government, as basically including Secret Service, have been paying to stay at Trump-owned hotels and resorts. So whenever Trump or any other government official stays at a Trump hotel resort, it's the taxpayer dollars going into those operations, of course. That's our taxpayer dollars funding the government for its operations, which then being spent at Trump hotels. Now, is this a huge chunk of money to the tune of billions of dollars? No, but it's still a good chunk of our taxpayer dollars, clearly showing a conflict of interest because they're staying at Trump properties. Trump properties, which Trump still profits off of. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Let's say that Joe Biden was some real estate mogul, some crony, and he had a whole bunch of Biden resorts, conducted all of his political administration's operations at those resorts, lots of events at those Biden properties. That would be a clear conflict of interest if he hadn't divested. And I would even argue that if you truly did even divest, that it's in a blind trust, it still is like, yeah, I think you're still profiting in some way, because it's based on, oh, I don't have any knowledge of how this is being run. It's like, yeah, you can still talk and seek advice and all that stuff. But you get what I mean. So our taxpayer dollars are basically being siphoned into Donald Trump's personal pocket, because our taxes go to running the government, and then those are used in the executive functioning to then pay for Trump officials, staff, foreign leaders to then stay at Trump properties. So, I mean, it's pretty clear. Foreign officials and delegations have spent money at Trump properties, again, using our taxpayer dollars. Political committees and Republican campaigns frequently held events for Trump at Trump venues. Also, if you want to go into all the specific ways, the OpenSecrets.org and the Brennan Center for Responsive Politics outlines a lot of this. These are all specifically the president's profiting off of being president. And you can see in here, this isn't, it's not like billions of dollars, but it is some millions of dollars, personally. So, of course, and I want to point out just really, really quickly, during this period, this was obviously not when he was president. So it doesn't include that kind of thing. They are also partially factoring in outside political donations, all that stuff. Now, also the Secret Service has spent nearly $100K at Trump properties. Let me break this down here. So, continuing a troubling trend from President Trump's first administration, the Secret Service spent nearly $100,000 in taxpayer money at Trump properties in the first months of the second term, according to records obtained by Crew through a Freedom of Information Act request. The records also show that this spending, largely for visits on which Trump always plays golf at properties he owns and profits from, makes up about 1 in every $10 the Secret Service has actually spent protecting Trump and his family at his businesses and when they're on vacation. So 1 in $10 that goes into the Secret Service actually ends up going to Trump properties. So meaning Trump's pocket, the Trump organization, because they're conducting business at those properties. So now, of course, MAGA's not going to care. MAGA's not going to care because it doesn't matter how corrupt Trump is. He's owning the libs, and that's their political ideology. It's based on cruelty. It's based on putting someone else down. They have given up their agency, critical thinking, devoid of any reasoning whatsoever. But, imagine if this was another political figure. This would be just as much of a scandal. If this was Bernie Sanders, the right would be literally going apeshit. They would be losing their minds. And look, they would be in the right. They would be correct. If this was Gavin Newsom, and he had a whole empire of real estate properties, and he conducted his own government business as governor of California, to do that, yeah, that would be bad. But somehow Trump is immune from this public criticism because his followers are in a cult. It doesn't matter how corrupt he is, as long as he owns the libs, they don't care. But little do they know that they're the ones actually being screwed over. And by the way, I'm not a fan of Gavin Newsom at all, personally, just saying. But yeah, Maggie, he's stealing from you also. That's the point. You think, oh, he's stealing from the libs, huh? He's stealing from you too. MAGA, do you not realize he uses you as a cash cow? And that's a whole nother thing. I haven't even listed that out, but he uses MAGA as a cash cow to sell hats, shirts, flags, signs, cologne, Bibles, shoes, all saying Trump on it. And then you're like, oh, you're a sheep. Oh, you're a Democrat. You're a sheep. It's like, you're the one that all look the same. All these Trump supporters literally look like a copy and paste version. It's like, ew. Anyway, but the current totals directed to Trump businesses could seem small, but they add up fast. During President Trump's first term, the Secret Service spent nearly $2 million at Trump properties. That's just the Secret Service. Sometimes spending more than the government rate limits to stay at his properties. An infusion of taxpayer money, that was hundreds of thousands of dollars more than he would have earned if he had kept the presidential salary he claimed to have donated to charity. Which, yeah, that's another thing. People are like, oh, well, he actually donated his salary to charity. Right. Let's say that he did fully do that. There's some evidence that he has, some evidence that he hasn't. Let's say that he fully has. I mean, what's $400,000 if you can make $2 million by utter corruption while you're in that position? I mean, it gives you the ability to look like a stand-up guy, but then also do corruption. And that total does not include hundreds of thousands of dollars spent by other agencies, like the Department of Defense at his businesses, or other departments, the Treasury, at his businesses. So, in addition to all of that, foreign governments, including Saudi Arabia, China, Turkey, reportedly spent significant sums at Trump properties. Lobbyists and special interest groups booked rooms and events at Trump hotels. So he's using his power as president because he hasn't divested from his businesses. When he is doing government business at his properties without fully divesting, that means that every single time they have events there, have any functions there whatsoever, the Trump business is making money. Meaning Trump is making money. Meaning he's using his power and his position as president to then literally personally profit. Now here's the thing. Call me old-fashioned. I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. I think that if you are a president, you should be focused not on making money. You should be focused on delivering results for people. Except Donald Trump, his main thing is he wants to make money. We'll get into his cryptocurrency venture here in a minute. But this is him making lots of money. Someone said, it's called capitalism. Okay, so you say, oh, it's called capitalism. It's called capitalism. So corruption equals capitalism? So you're saying that, okay, so you're saying that if Biden were to do this, you wouldn't say that it's wrong. You're like, oh, it's just capitalism. Imagine if Kamala Harris had done the same thing. Imagine if Kamala Harris had a whole empire of real estate, and then Democrats were to say, oh, it's just capitalism. You would be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? It's corruption. But yet here's the thing. You don't have an ideology. It's convenient for you to then not critically think about it. Be against something on the merits. Be against corruption on the merits. Not because it's convenient for your side in the moment. Also, why are you cheerleading for Trump anyway? What is he doing for you? Our prices continue to go up. Everything he is doing is a slap in the face to all Americans, whether you are a Trump voter or not. So, by the way, and I talked about Hunter Biden and stuff like that. I did. But here's the thing, if you're trying to equate Hunter Biden to literally Donald Trump personally profiting off of office, you clearly are trying to compare an apricot to the size of a grapefruit. That they're not the same size. Look at Pelosi. Pelosi is a huge stock trader. But again, do you notice, and I'm going to just point this out and then I'm going to go on to the next part. Do you notice the endless whataboutism that happens? Do you all know what whataboutism is? Do you all know what whataboutism is? hold on, let me launch it as a poll. Do you know about what whataboutism is? Hold on just a second. Do you all know what whataboutism is? I'm seeing a good chunk of whataboutism in the chat. And this is an educational moment for people. Do you all know what whataboutism is? Oh, what about Biden? What about Biden? What about Pelosi? What about this person? Do you all know what whataboutism is? It's okay if you don't. I don't put people down for not knowing something. That's only functions as a gatekeeping tool, where then people are shamed for not knowing something instead of empowered to learn. I see 4 votes and we have 29 people. Why do my live streams continue to have such low attendance? I don't get it. Is it the time? Like, I don't get it. To expound for the trolls. Someone says, I bet you want open borders in Somalia pirates. Again, that's a perfect example of whataboutism. We're not talking about those things. Yet they then say, well, what about this? What about that? You just want to blame Trump, you got TDS so bad. You want to know what Trump derangement syndrome is? Is looking at Trump and not seeing all the corruption that he has done, exploiting America and looting his own supporters. You want to talk about Trump derangement syndrome? It's looking at him as if he is the savior of this country. It's creepy. So it looks like a good chunk of people know what whataboutism is, but for the people who voted no, whataboutism is simply when you put something out there like Donald Trump personally profiting off of the presidency, and then because they cannot confront that inconvenient information, they say, what about Biden? What about Pelosi? What about, and all these other people. Now, in a sense, it's fine to compare, contrast, and put things in perspective. That's fine. But the motivation behind why they do that is when I say Trump has made billions of dollars off of deregulating cryptocurrency and launching his own crypto firm, World Liberty Financial, and through his deregulatory practices as the chief executive in the executive branch, he has basically personally profited off of his actions, being president, launching his own thing, his own crypto firm, and making a whole bunch of money. And then they'll say, okay, but what about Biden? What about Biden? The idea is, okay, that's inconvenient information. I can't handle it. I'm going to pivot. And whataboutism essentially is a way of trying to then even out all different grievances as equally bad. It's trying to make Pelosi being a stock trader, which I want to get rid of insider trading. I think that members of Congress should not be able to trade stocks. But into the idea that trading stocks as a congressperson, which isn't illegal, I just think it's incorrect and wrong, you shouldn't do it, compared to Donald Trump's actions literally deregulating cryptocurrency to the point where he has made billions of dollars in office. Yeah, there is one thing that's like, okay, that's bad. That's like a smack in the face bad. Versus this is like a high crime misdemeanor. Personally profiting off of the presidency. But see, the reason why Trump supporters feel the need to then do this whataboutism, this what about this, is because they're trying to equate these as being equally bad so they can justify their continued support for someone like Trump. It's a mental mechanism that people do in order to then avoid having to jump ship, having to abandon being a part of a group. And for those people who are like, How do you know? Because I was one of those people. I was raised as a MAGA Republican. I was raised that way. That's the mentality. They have this knee-jerk reaction to try and completely shift attention away from inconvenient information to say, what about this? What about this? What about this? It's a cop-out. And so I love when I see it in the chat here, because as soon as I talk about something else, they're like, what about this? It's a distraction. It's a distraction. Now, everyone of all different political stripes and affiliations can fall into whataboutism, sure. But you gotta put it in perspective. I hope that all makes sense. I appreciate every single one of you. Not to mention Trump's $1 billion scam. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But cool. Let me end the poll really quickly. Hold on. Let me end the poll. Then we'll get into the next subject. So let's talk about cryptocurrency. So number 2 is, okay, Donald Trump has made billions of dollars through deregulating cryptocurrency. Okay, hold on. Let me take a sip of coffee. Also, if you're a new viewer, say so in the chat. If this is your first time or like second or third time being here, then type first, second or third or whatever in the chat below. If you all have any ideas as to how we can increase live attendance, let me know. Let me know. I don't know if it's not having enough comments or if it's not sending enough likes, or maybe my information is just not exciting. I don't think that's the case. I just don't think it's getting the reach that it deserves. Someone said, be less gay. Oh, sweetheart. Okay, you know what? Let's just then be more gay. Oh my God, let's just be a little bit more gay. Because if this somehow makes you upset, then sorry, maybe I'm not the snowflake. If me having a happy existence being super gay upsets you, then maybe look inwardly at yourself and ask, maybe I'm the snowflake. Maybe I get upset by someone else living their happy existence. Wrecked. Okay, so number 2, how Trump has made a good chunk of money in office. All right. Number 2, deregulating cryptocurrency, launching his own crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. Now, do you all know what cryptocurrency is? If you don't, it's okay. If you don't know what cryptocurrency is, that's fine. But let's talk about what cryptocurrency is. Why can I not find my graphics? This is just rude. Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Okay. So cryptocurrency is simply, let me hide away the chat here. Cryptocurrency, sometimes called crypto, is any form of currency that exists digitally or virtually and uses cryptography to secure transactions. So cryptocurrency, it actually doesn't have, it's not a physical thing. It's all electronic. Cryptocurrency functions through something called blockchain technology, meaning all transactions are through a public ledger, meaning that there's no central banking authority to then oversee all cryptocurrency. So the main elements of cryptocurrency is that oh geez, that's the wrong thing. Hold on a second. So where did it go? I literally had it all organized, and then somehow in some way, it has then all just become disorganized. Grrr. That's not the one I want. I guess this is the one I want. So cryptocurrency is simply electronic money. It's money that doesn't have any tangible. It's simply money that doesn't have any tangible worth. So it's digital currency designed to work through computer networks. There's no central banking authority or government or anything that oversees all of it. Cryptocurrency is basically created through solving very complex mathematical equations. You're like, what? Yeah, so cryptocurrency is literally created, they call it mining. Cryptocurrency is literally created through solving very complex mathematical problems. And there used to be these crypto farms, is what they call them, where they would literally have computers just solving these mathematical equations, and it would take tremendous amounts of power to do so. Crypto mines, as they would call it, would just mine and solve those equations and create lots of digital currency, which then that currency can be then cashed out for real money. US dollars, for instance, through things like Coinbase. So you can transfer your cryptocurrency into real USD, and then maybe you can make it physical cash. But cryptocurrency functions through something called blockchain technology, meaning that there's no, meaning that all the transactions are done through a public ledger. Why, maybe I didn't actually allow YouTube the access to the graphic that I wanted, which is just rude. Just rude. But, so the way that Donald Trump has made a good chunk of money through cryptocurrency has simply been by, as soon as he became president, he has deregulated cryptocurrency, and then he launched his own crypto venture, World Liberty Financial. Deregulating it, meaning that he can find ways to then make money off of it. So let me read out some things here. Presidency boosts Trump's net worth by $3 billion in 1 year. This is all thanks to World Liberty Financial. He's had the most lucrative year of his life. The president is now worth a record $7.3 billion, up from $4.3 billion in 2024 when he was still running for office. The $3 billion gain vaulted him 118 spots on the Forbes 400, where he now lands number 201 this year. No president in U.S. history has used his position of power to profit as immensely as Trump. His primary vehicle for enrichment? Cryptocurrency, an asset class full of hype and vulnerable to regulators. Teaming up with his 3 sons, Trump announced a crypto venture in September of 2024 named World Liberty Financial, which initially struggled to gain traction. Then he won the White House. And after all of that, Trump has basically shaken up cryptocurrency to the point where he's deregulated it, and it has allowed him to skyrocket his own wealth. So during the second presidency, cryptocurrency was promoted by Trump and his administration with several different crypto-friendly actions. He appointed very crypto-friendly regulators, reduced regulation, dropped investigations into cryptocurrency firms that were accused of crime, and Trump promoted his own cryptocurrency meme coin, Trump coin, and maintained significant investments in cryptocurrency with his own family company. So as different steps here, Trump has made money by literally signing executive orders establishing the president's working group on digital asset markets to streamline regulation. So he deregulated cryptocurrency. He then appointed Paul Atkins as an SEC chair to shift from regulation by enforcement to a move more lenient. Under his new guidance, the new Securities and Exchange Commission dropped or froze nearly 90 enforcement cases against major crypto entities, including Coinbase and Kraken. So basically, there's not very many regulations on cryptocurrency at all. So what Trump has done is use his power, his position as president, to deregulate, to take away rules, to open up and make it easier for cryptocurrency to then be created. And without regulations, thinking about the public interest, thinking about how it affects people, how this might be used for nefariousness or to commit crimes, and instead he dropped the cases for 90 different accused crypto firms that were doing different nefarious things. He dropped the cases of all of those through the Securities and Exchange Commission, and has now been using his position as president after deregulating to make tremendous amounts of money. If this was another president, if this was Obama, this would be just as bad. Truly. You're using your position as president to make money. Your actions, direct cause and effect, deregulate crypto, launch your own meme coin, make billions of dollars. And you know what? MAGA doesn't care. I'm not trying to convince them. I'm not going to anymore. I'm not going to try to reach people who have the inability to listen. They don't seem to care that Trump has personally profited off of the presidency. But heaven forbid it's someone a part of the other political affiliation. Heaven forbid that it's anyone but Trump. You know why? Because Trump is immune. He can be a dictator if he wants. He can be an authoritarian if he wants. Because those people are part of a cult. Sorry, but I think political ideology, or I think that discipline, I think that corruption should be called out equally no matter who it is. And until Donald Trump is held accountable for that corruption, I'm not going to stop talking about it. And so Donald Trump basically deregulating cryptocurrency, launching his own meme coin and Trump coin, World Liberty Financial, his own firm, leading to billions of dollars in his own wealth skyrocketing, using his position, is something I'm going to talk about. And you're like, oh, well, this doesn't hurt the public. Right, but it's him focusing on personally using the office to enrich himself instead of doing anything else to help the American people. And there are a good chunk of Americans who have just accepted and normalized this. Because they're like, oh, well, I guess it's Trump, so he gets a pass. Like, no! Sorry, if you go into public service, that should be your main priority. Your only priority, public service. And so, yeah, the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team was dissolved under the Department of Justice, with it shifting focus away from technical regulatory violations, such as unlicensed money transmitting. Trump also signed the Genius Act into law. This legislation created a framework for stablecoin issuers, setting up a federal state system that allowed for faster growth for the $238 billion market. Also, when we see a crash in cryptocurrency, it's going to be really, really bad. It's going to be bad for our whole economy. It's going to have ripples throughout the whole thing. So Trump has basically surged his net worth by half at least or more through cryptocurrency. It is a cause and effect. Trump becomes president, deregulates crypto, launches his own coin, makes billions of dollars. Ask yourself, is this fair under any president, no matter their political affiliation? Now, all the MAGA people are going to say, what about Biden? What about Obama? What about? They did bad things too. Yeah, but they didn't do this kind of crap. Like, you don't have past presidents literally using their position to create policy that then is favorable for them business-wise. Other presidents divested their business interests into a blind trust. Now, I have issues with blind trusts, but it's better than nothing. So, anyway. Are there any super chats that I should read out before we talk about the last one? Or yeah. I appreciate every single one of you, even if you hate me. Unfortunately, I have no influence to peddle. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't trust crypto no more than unless it's my own coin. Yeah. Expose this traitor. Yeah, no, Trump is truly a traitor. What's up, American person? Hello. Someone says every candidate makes money in office, bro. Do y'all see the whataboutism happening in the chat? It happens all the time. I talk about how Donald Trump is making excessive amounts of money in office, and their knee-jerk reaction is, well, I can't confront that information that goes against my pre-existing beliefs, so I'm just gonna water it down by saying, what about this person? What about this person? Yeah, there's definitely problems there. Joe Biden, sure. Hunter, yeah. But you didn't see Democrats cry about holding that accountable. See, here's the thing. To all these people that are like, oh, what about Hunter Biden? Did you see Democrats cry around somehow Hunter Biden being held accountable for his crimes? No. No. Democrats don't cry about accountability for corruption. We don't. And I'm using we, I'm very much a progressive independent that caucuses with the Democrats because they don't go far enough in actually doing crap. But like, you don't see Democrats then whine about holding their leaders accountable. If Biden had done this exact same thing, Democrats would be like, okay, let's get a different person a part of the party. But you see, to the Republicans that immediately come in here and say, what about this? What about this? What about this? It's a convenient deflective mechanism that you go through in order to then continue and justify your continued support for Donald Trump. If you can make everyone else's scandals as equally bad, then somehow it justifies your continued support. It is a mental mechanism that you do with rationalizing. It's the same way that whenever you encounter a Trump supporter, they go, he didn't say that. And if he did, he didn't mean that. And if he did, well, then you didn't understand it. And if you did, then it's really not even a big deal. The rationalization in real time. The rationalization in real time. We do need to get rid of Chuck Schumer. Oh, 100%. 100%. 100%. How many people we got in here? 47? I wonder if this is misleading. If you're enjoying the live stream, please make sure to smash that subscribe button. Let's talk about the last way that Donald Trump has used his position as president to make a good chunk of money. Number 3, accepting bribes and gifts from foreign leaders, violating the emoluments clause in the Constitution. Do you all know what the emoluments clause is? It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you're like, I have no idea what that is. Do we want to put up a chat or a poll? Do you know what the emoluments clause, not clucus, clause is? Let me add yes, no, and sorta. Alrighty. Do you all know what the emoluments clause is? It means you can't accept a jet from Qatar. Oh yeah, we'll talk about it. It's okay if you don't. I don't blame people for not knowing. Do you all know what the emoluments clause in our Constitution is? This is a big deal. You know, it's funny because there are things in our Constitution that don't always get the notoriety that they actually deserve. Do you all know what the emoluments clause is? Designed by the founders to prevent corruption? Yeah. America can accept a jet? Yes, it can. But if it's done through the consent of Congress, which is what the emoluments clause talks about. Stop the attacks on me or someone else. Yeah, and credit to James Madison. By the way, my favorite founder is James Madison. You people might be like, well, who's James Madison? James Madison was our 4th president, and he basically wrote the entire Constitution. Everyone is like, oh, Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, you know, and that's all great, but like James Madison, this short 5'4" guy, wrote basically the entire Constitution. And like, he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. So yeah, so it looks like about a third of us know what it is. Another third say sorta, and the other third say no. So, what is the emoluments clause in the Constitution? So the emoluments clause in the Constitution basically is an anti-corruption measure that prevents federal officials in the executive branch or any branch from taking a sort of bribe, a gift, without the consent of Congress. There's a foreign emoluments clause and a domestic emoluments clause. Let me actually read out what the Constitution says. And granted, this is in very old man time legal jargon, but I'll break it down. It says, no title of nobility, so anyone in a position of power, shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them, whether you're an elected representative or the president, shall, without the consent of Congress, meaning having the permission of the House of Representatives or the Senate, accept any present, emolument, office, or title of any kind whatsoever, meaning accept any bribe, any gift, anything like that at all, from any king, prince, or head of foreign state, meaning from another country like Qatar. So there's a foreign emoluments clause and a domestic. What the founders and James Madison initially, I don't know if he specifically wrote the emoluments clause or it was inspired by someone else, so I want to leave that to be ambiguous in case someone ends up coming in and correcting me. But the emoluments clause was included as a way to prevent leaders from basically accepting bribes from foreign countries. And then the domestic one is also the same for people who were a part of the United States and then giving huge gifts to the president or leaders as a way to then influence or steer decision making. So Trump has violated the emoluments clause. He violated the emoluments clause by just accepting this $400 million Qatari jet. Do you all remember this? He accepted this jet to be used as the new Air Force One. Now you're like, wait a minute, hold on, pause. Trump is basically violating the emoluments clause, but what if he does get the consent of Congress? What if the House of Representatives or the Senate actually do give him the permission? Then it's fine. If they give him permission, that's cool. There you go. The emoluments clause talks about that you can't accept any gift or anything unless you get the consent of Congress. Well, he didn't get that. But Donald Trump doesn't seem to care about rules, especially if it gets him a shiny new plane. So, for all these people that are like right-wing saying, oh, Trump is, he loves the Constitution. If you loved it, then you wouldn't violate it endlessly, all the time, every day, 24/7. But facts don't align with their preferred version of fantasy. But it's a national security risk, in my view, if you accept a bribe in this way. And I would also even argue, even if you get the consent of Congress and you accept this kind of gift at this level, I'm like, I don't know, it makes me think that there's some sort of nefarious intentions. Like, no country just gives a gift of this magnitude. And Trump wants to retrofit it for Air Force One, which, by the way, would take several years to retrofit. So, unless he's planning on only using it the last year of his presidency, or he's planning on giving it to the future presidents, or does this then lead to questions around him not leaving office? So, someone says, you're a beta, be quiet. You're a troll, leave. So, all of that being said, he violated the emoluments clause, which basically prohibits leaders of our country from accepting bribes or accepting emoluments from foreign leaders. And of course, MAGA does not seem to care that somehow, Trump just accepted a $400 million plane. And they're like, oh, he's rooting out corruption. Donald Trump is corruption. He's like, I'm going to drain the swamp. Donald Trump is the swamp. He is the grand poobah of swamp creatures. That's what he does. So that's another way that Donald Trump has personally profited off of being in office, is he just will accept a bribe. And think about it. Like, if a country just wants to then get on Donald Trump's good side, they can just bribe him with a shiny new plane. And they're like, you're all right, you gave me a new plane. You're fine, you're cool, actually, we're pretty good friends, some say that they wanted to be a part of the Mile High Club, and I say, oh, wow, that's incredible, that's fantastic, that's amazing, wonderful. If you like my little hands, then make sure to click the subscribe. Look at all the whataboutism in the chat. Wow, it's incredible, it's outstanding. Do I make you think a little bit? Maybe I make you think a little bit. It's actually impressive. So those are all the ways that Donald Trump has basically used his position as president to then make significant amounts of wealth. Oh, and in addition, the last part, which is kind of an unofficial fourth one, is milking his supporters for every single cent for their merchandise. So to all the people in here that are like, yeah, Trump, he's amazing. I bet you have like 5 hats, 5 shirts, some Trump shoes, some Trump socks, some Trump cologne, some Trump Bible. You got flags and signs and crap and all of this saying Trump on it. Because your whole identity is being a Trump supporter. To all of the cult members, your whole identity, a good chunk of you, your whole identity is just being a Trump supporter. And then you're like, you're the sheep! LOL. But basically, selling his merchandise, he's made significant amounts of money doing that. And like, you can use your money and spend it however you want, but like, I think that on any level of buying that much merchandise to support a political figure, no matter the political affiliation, is just creepy and cringy, and it's like turning politics into a religion. I love Bernie Sanders. You know what I have? I have one sign that says Bernie on it. That's it. Because Bernie Sanders is not a god. Donald Trump is not a god. So, it's just to these people who treat politicians like somehow they're deities to be served. It's cringy and crazy and creepy. Nah, that's you generalizing, big homie. That's not my identity, LMAO. I think you're facing a little bit of cognitive dissonance, my friend. It is gross. Yeah. But anyway, those are just the myriad of ways that Donald Trump has made money off of the presidency. And to me, I think, of course, corruption is corruption. I don't care who it is. But Trumpers, of course, you can't acknowledge Trump's corruption, because then that would be going against your whole identity as a Trump supporter. I think that using taxpayer dollars for government officials to stay at your properties while you're president, you're basically taking taxpayer dollars from the American people, you and me, then using it to pay for staff to stay at your properties, or foreign leaders, Secret Service. $1 in $10 from the Secret Service goes to Trump's pocket, because it goes to paying for housing. And I think that no matter who it is corruption. if this was Kamala Harris, if this was Obama, if this was Biden, I would be talking about it too. I'd be talking about this as well. 100%. You know why? Because my journalism tracks corruption. It doesn't just then somehow make you immune because you're a certain part of a certain political party. I love how as soon as I start talking about the details, all of a sudden the trolls scroll away. You want to talk about beta behavior? That's beta behavior. As soon as they receive any information that goes against what they want to believe, then they're like, no! Or Donald Trump getting in office, deregulating cryptocurrency, then launching his own crypto firm, making billions of dollars off of the fact that he just deregulated the cryptocurrency industry. Dropped cases towards people accused of cryptocurrency crime, and somehow Trump supporters accept corruption. They lap it up. They're like, oh, corruption. Oh, it's okay if Donald Trump makes money in office, meaning that it's okay for him to make money in office using your taxpayer dollars, using his position to personally enrich himself instead of doing the job as president. You are gayer than a $3 bill. At least I have some monetary worth. I think it's funny. First of all, in that case, a $3 bill would be incredibly rare and special. You got that? Are you just jealous? Are you just jealous that I have worth? To the people who think that you can put me down by insulting me, honestly, I'm sad for you. To the people who think that they can somehow insult and get under my skin, I honestly pity you. Like, imagine scrolling into a live stream by someone just attempting to inform people about all the ways that a current public official is scamming his own country. And then all of a sudden, you somehow are like, hey, let me own this guy, and let me just insult him. Ooh, that'll prove it to him. Honestly, I just pity you. I pity you. Thinking that somehow launching some verbal insult over a live stream to put down someone else is a way to make yourself feel better. I voted for Trump, but you're right, they all do it. Yes, a lot of public officials do make money off the presidency. Or, in some capacity, a lot of people in Congress make money off of their elected positions. But don't be fooled in thinking that all that corruption is somehow equal. Don't then look at Nancy Pelosi, who I can't stand personally. Don't look at Nancy Pelosi and think that her corruption is equal to Donald Trump. You know why? Because Donald Trump literally has done all of these things, using taxpayer dollars for people to stay at his properties when he conducts government business because he didn't divest his businesses, basically pocketing that taxpayer dollars, going into that, putting it in his pocket, deregulates cryptocurrency, then launches his own meme coin, makes billions of dollars, and violates the emoluments clause by accepting foreign bribes from leaders of other countries to the tune of $400 million. That's bad. But then a lot of people, these Trumpers or people who lean more conservative, will immediately say, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What you're attempting to do is take the severity of the corruption of Donald Trump and somehow try to make it equal with a lower threshold, like Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she's corrupt, but she's not as corrupt. Because what Nancy Pelosi does is insider trading. Not illegal, but still I would say is wrong. Being a member of Congress and trading stocks, which she did a lot, is not at the same caliber as personally profiting off of the presidency. You see what I mean? So there's this initial knee-jerk reaction to say, well, what about Hunter Biden? What about Hunter Biden? The right wing is so craven on trying to then make Trump's corruption equally bad as an other political figure. Because then Trump supporters or people on the right can somehow rationalize their continued support of right-wing political figures. Because then they can go, well, everyone is bad. All public officials are bad. Do you see the rationalization that happens? It is an implicit, sometimes not even realized thing that, well, all political figures do this in office. So, they all do it. They all do it. Right. But do they all do it at the same level, at the same length? Do they all do it to the same severity? No. But that's a natural reaction in order to water down criticism so that you can have the continued stability of maintaining your identity as a right-wing supporter. You've convinced me you belong in an insane asylum. Trading stocks, it should be, like, trading stocks as a member of Congress, yeah. I don't think that's right. Yet, members of Congress do it. Ready Bits, you clearly haven't been in my live streams. You know, it's so funny. It's funny because these people will then accuse me of something, but yet you haven't done your due diligence at seeing what I believe. You haven't. Someone said, why aren't you focusing on both Republicans and Democrats being in the Epstein files? Have you seen my live streams? Have you seen my content? No. You're just assuming something. You're just assuming and projecting onto something. My moderators will tell you, people who watch my live streams all the time, I don't care what your political affiliation is. Wrong is wrong. And then you're going to say, well, why do you tend to call out Republicans more often? Because there's more stuff there, honey. There's more crap and corruption there. Don't get your little panties in a wad or twisted because you're like, why are you calling out my side more? Because you got more to call out. Not my personal problem. Sweetheart. Anyway, I have to get going. I need to get to work. I love all of you so much. I've gone over my time a little bit, but I still think this live was really, really helpful. If you enjoyed this live stream, please make sure to click subscribe. I hope that people learn stuff on the stream. If you really enjoyed, especially my tiny hands, please make sure to subscribe, like the stream, share the content. It's actually fantastic. Thank you, Kate. My amazing moderators do a fantastic job at moderating the chats. Y'all are incredible. It's all of that stuff. What in the world is that? Someone just sent in a super chat saying something really weird. I don't know what that is. But the people who are paying me to then see those things, thank you. Anyway, if you really like the stream, go check out my other content because I promise it's really, really good. It's fantastic. It's incredible. Some say it's the best. Anyway, shout out to my amazing moderators. Y'all are incredible. Thank you, JE Main Event. Aggravated Progressive, thank you. Dude and Stella, appreciate all of you. Opinion on a potential JD Vance and Gavin Newsom 2028. My opinion on that is I really hope Gavin Newsom is not the Democratic nominee because ew. No, let's have someone else, an actual progressive, be that. No, Gavin Newsom is not the future of the Democratic Party. Please, no. You're gonna have the same kind of crap that happened in 2024. No. Actual progressive, not fake. Got it. I appreciate every single one of you. Just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything or the algorithm ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye!